Hi everybody, I hope you're all keeping well. So as you can see, we've got a slight change of scenery at the moment. This is because my house is in turmoil and is also why I've been a little bit absent. Those of you that have been following me for a while know after we had that heavy rain last time, part of my conservatory basically flooded, collapsed. So I've had builders in and out, I've got a new roof, I've had plasterers in and out, I'm now having something done in the kitchen due to leaking wiring. It's just absolute chaos in my house. So I dare not show you what's going on behind the rest of this, but every time you have to clear a room in your house for work to be done, you have to spread it around to every other room of the house. So right now my house is just complete chaos. Also had a little bit of scare, some of you have been asking, like my mum, she likes to be dramatic at Christmas, you know, not enough stuff going on, but she hadn't been feeling very well. She had a lot of fluid on her chest and she went and had an x-ray done and they said to her to go home. Then she got a phone call saying, we've looked at your x-ray, you need to ring 999 now. For my friends in America and abroad, that's the equivalent of 911. Call an ambulance immediately. They thought she had a pulmonary embolism sitting there, right? Life-threatening, basically. 13 hours for an ambulance until she got to hospital. Thankfully, cut a long story short, she's okay. She just has an awful lot of fluid, so they've given her different antibiotics. She's on inhalers and stuff. Around about the same time, my husband's nan, she's been very, very poorly. She's got a lot of illnesses affecting her, and she ended up waiting again about 12 hours to go into hospital. So it's been very, very, very stressful. In between this, I've obviously got dogs. I'm trying to do Christmas shopping, and yes, so Harry and Meghan have definitely taken a back seat. Due to all of this, I couldn't bring myself with all of that stuff going on to watch those final 3 episodes. I might do it in the next coming days, but I'll be honest with you, I read enough about it. I have got something, I'm full of cold as well. I think it's just a little bit of stress, but I have got something which I know so many people around the world are suffering with now, and it's called Megsickness. We had Megflix, we've got Netflix, and we've now got Megsickness. I'm bored of them. I'm not just bored of them, I'm irritated by them. And whilst I always try and be like funny and comedic about it all, I've just reached a point now where I've literally, I think I've had enough for the year. There's no break in between. Obviously we had the podcast, which was back to back to back, and then we had lots of stuff that came out there. Then Harry's book, the memoirs, dropping. We know that's coming in January. Then we've had obviously the trailers drop for Netflix and Netflix itself. They could have used this Netflix documentary. They wanted to tell their love story. Fine, they could have done that. They wanted to then tell, you know, more about their exit from the royal family. Okay, we had Oprah. I mean, that was pretty detailed. Problem is, they changed the story of, well, pretty much loads of things from even what they told Oprah. But then the third episode of the first 3 was nothing more than anti-monarchy, let's tear down the royal family. It was propaganda. It was hardly any of Harry and Meghan talking, but it was all to do with trying to destroy our monarchy, to tarnish the Queen's legacy. And that angered me. It angered me to a point. I was raging. I'm absolutely disgusted. I'm disgusted that other countries want to meddle so much with our monarchy, you know, but then also the fact that Harry and Meghan have signed up to this. Harry, who once said that he wanted to protect his grandmother, has been absolutely part of this. Obviously, you saw my rant. That video took ages to do as well, to do with Meghan taking the mickey and doing the bow and things like that. I mean, that's small fry, really, when you think about it. They've been disrespectful this whole time since they joined the monarchy. Since Meghan became Harry's fiancée, she's been disrespectful, from demands of what tiaras she could wear, speaking to other members of staff, speaking to people like they're crap within the palace. Now, I know lots of people can say, well, that's just hearsay, but there are so many people now that have spoken out. It's not to do with media manipulation. This is not just coming from palace sources. For example, Meghan has said, and I've read this, that the Toronto police refused to protect her. They basically said to her that, well, it's who you're dating, it's your fault. Wow. So that's a pretty big claim to have thrown at the Toronto Police Department. And well, their chief, who is, you know, still in charge, has come forward and said that's not true. You know, the officers absolutely, you know, that they checked, they had unmarked cars outside her house. Basically, he's come forward and said recollections definitely vary. So she's lied about the police. So you don't think at the time that they would have been questioning the neighbours, that Meghan had said she's accused her previous neighbours of putting up video cameras to spy on her. I mean, there is no one that this woman is not ready to accuse or to throw under the bus. And it's so strange because Harry had prominent girlfriends in the UK. Cressida, okay, Chelsea. Yes, they did get more media attention, but why is it Meghan is the only one that got stalked? Meghan's house got, you know, secret undercover reporters to put secret cameras in places. The drama has always begun with Meghan. It will always be with Meghan. Now, I'm not saying that Meghan didn't actually start attracting, you know, more attention than what her career had ever brought her. I don't mean that to sound a little bit catty, but let's be honest, she was relatively unknown. Her friends have tried to say that she was always stopped in the streets, but I don't actually believe that to be true, because her long-term friend Nikki Priddy, I always say her name wrong, she'd said when she gave her big interview that Meghan, when she was with Suits, she used to come back and to visit and be like ducking and hiding into places, covering herself with baseball caps because she thought that she'd be spotted, and she was never spotted. So that's something, I suppose, where she was very well suited with the whole paranoia. But for Meghan, it was an ego trip. But yes, I'm sure that she did get extra attention, but let's not pretend that Meghan didn't court it. I said in my last video, you know, that she did call Paps. I believe that necklace was arranged perfectly. But she got Harry to put out that statement to the press to say, leave my girlfriend alone. This was done for obvious reasons. This was done because then it made their relationship completely official. But I think she did this by calling the police, by pretending that she was being stalked and harassed. I say pretending because there is no evidence to show that Meghan was ever stalked or harassed. Look at all of the video footage we have of Catherine, of Diana, other members of the royal family. There is no evidence. But Meghan was telling Harry this. Harry even slipped up at one point in the documentary. I can't tell you where because it just turned into a big 3-hour snooze fest. But he said, I was hearing all of this down the other end of the phone, not knowing what to do. And I'm not quoting that, but that's roughly what he said. But my point is, she was telling him that this stuff was happening. She was telling him that having to put security up around trailers at her work that people were trying to break into. She was twisting that boy's noodle from the moment she started dating him. And it's so obvious. I believe that Meghan has got her way by using security all the way through their relationship. I believe it's how she got Harry to announce that they were together, right? I believe if she was so scared of the extra attention, why would you then go off and do a magazine cover, Wild About Harry? Yes, that's someone that really wanted to keep their relationship private and just about them, as she poses it in a princess dress on the front page of a prominent magazine to be spread across all newsstands. But then also with the engagement and her moving in with Harry, they wouldn't take Meghan seriously. She was not allowed to get Scotland Yard protection, UK police protection, until she basically became a fiancée. It's the same thing that happened with Catherine. Of course, why would taxpayers pay for someone's girlfriend? So obviously, well, King Charles, actually, to be fair, he paid for his own private security to protect Camilla. Now, Harry, this is again another fault. This is always my thoughts and my opinions on this, but this is how I believe that she's done it. It's that whole thing of ripping off a scab and sticking your finger in it and twiddling it around. She's done it by using his weakness over his mother and his fears for security. Anything they ever talk about, they had to leave because they weren't going to protect Meghan. So Meghan said that she didn't feel protected. She didn't feel safe to Harry. She felt so unsafe that she wanted to kill herself and her unborn child. Harry then takes them to Canada, okay? Meghan doesn't feel safe in Canada because they're going to have their security strips, so then they go to Montecito. Can you see where I'm going with this? But there's so many people that are just looking into it now and they're like, oh, they're falling for this whole kind of victim narrative. And it's just like, there's always been drama since Meghan has been part of the royal family. There is still continuing drama. The drama is never going to stop because Meghan loves and is the drama. Now, I'm not going to say that some of the things that have been said about Meghan are a little bit unfair. There's something at the moment that's going around that's blowing up. Jeremy Clarkson's in a lot of trouble. But, you know, he has apologised for it and he's taken it back and the article's been taken down. Meghan compared herself when she met the Queen to medieval times restaurant. She did that really offensive low bow. So Jeremy Clarkson has turned around and said, well, if it was medieval times, she would find herself basically naked, stripped naked and dragged through the streets as people threw excrement at her. And now the problem is the typical people that are defending Meghan saying a young black woman talks about her life how she nearly committed suicide. Now this white evil man, Jeremy Clarkson, very evil man, has basically said that she should be stripped naked and dragged through the streets. You know, they're trying to string him up and to get him cancelled. He was referring to the fact that Meghan was talking about medieval times, and he was actually referring to a scene which was in Game of Thrones with Cersei Lannister. It's not meant to be literally. He's not inciting people. When Meghan comes here, we're going to shave off her hair and drag her through the streets and throw poo at her. I've seen lots of famous people, or one comedian, for example, Jo Brand, said that she hoped that someone threw acid in Nigel Farage's, a politician's, face. Miriam Margolyes, she was an actress and very, very known actress, well-known actress in lots of stuff. But she said that when Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister, caught COVID, I'm laughing because it's just disbelievable, she hoped that he died. There are people out there all the time that have got a platform that say something, and I think what they said is far worse than what Jeremy Clarkson said. He is opinionated, he is obnoxious, he can be a big oaf, he is misogynistic, he is not too dissimilar to Piers Morgan at certain things. I like some things that Jeremy Clarkson says, I like some things Piers Morgan said. There's other times where I just think, oh dear. But there's lots of people out there, you know, you got Ricky Gervais, you got Jimmy Carr and stuff, you know, they crack jokes about the worst possible things that you shouldn't laugh about. But this whole cancel culture, why are people so hell-bent? And it's a certain type of people, and it's the people that defend Meghan Markle. Meghan and Harry can say what they want, even when it's proven to be lies. They can throw as much dirt as they can at their family when their grandparents were dying. There's so many things that they have thrown and chucked at the royal family, and they are continuously doing. As I said, some of it has turned out to be absolute bullshit, BS, bollocks, and they're allowed to do it. But if someone says something that they don't agree with about Meghan and Harry, they must be racist, they must be cancelled, we must destroy them, we must get them off of TV, we must completely, absolutely destroy these people. Look, all jokes aside, I'm not defending Jeremy Clarkson what he said, because he did actually do something really stupid where he actually put the name Rose West into a same paragraph where he's talking about Meghan Markle, and that's what's allowed these people to pick up on it. And this is where people need to be careful talking about Meghan Markle. Yes, you should be able to say what you think, but at least have an air of caution with it. Putting in someone's name when you're talking about Meghan Markle, such as Rose West, that I can't even defend. You'd deserve to get a fair amount of shit for that, because, I mean, I don't know if you know who she is. I'm not really going to mention it on this channel, but just Google it, where she's, you know, she's a psychopath, child murderer, and other things, really sick stuff. So he's, you know, he did go too far with that, but he's apologised for it. But no, we got to string him up. It's the same as the same people that wanted to string up an 83-year-old woman, Lady Susan Hussey, because she dared to question Ngozi Marlene Fulani, whatever, that she dared to question where she came from. Did Lady Susan Hussey not handle it the best way? Yes, I agree with that. Yes, I said that. Maybe. Did she deserve what happened to her? No. Did Ngozi push that in the absolute most ridiculous direction with maximum drama that she could? Yes, she did. But those two ladies, just to interrupt, have now met, discussed, and that whole situation has been diffused. If only Harry and Meghan would shut up, pipe down, actually take the time to be grown-ups and have met their family before Oprah and did the same, we wouldn't still be having this constant wave, continuous abuse thrown at the royal family, because Harry and Meghan, as they keep telling us, are still not done. I mean, how many more stories can they possibly have? The other big issue with the people that are defending them, they are always going to have people that defend them, but it's the number of lies that have come out. It's the number of people that have told their sides, their versions of events, and it completely differs to the stories that Harry and Meghan are telling. The Queen, obviously, you know, recollections may vary, but it seems to be going a lot further than that. And as I said, people that are watching this story unravel for the first time, maybe they had no interest in the royal family back then. Maybe they've never really followed it since the wedding and seen all the dramas steadily unfold like a lot of us have, especially in the UK. But the bit I can't get my head round is the fact that the amount of lies that have been uncovered, the amount of mistruths that they have told, mistruths, it's not mistruths, is it? It's a lie. I mean, being caught out lying to a judge in a court, lying about, you know, emails, when emails got presented, oh, I forgot that I sent a 10-page dossier. You know, she's lied about so many things, and the same people that defend them, they are always, always, always going to believe her. But you've got so many people now that are actually coming out, and these are respected people. The chief of the Toronto Police Department, for example. The Archbishop of Canterbury turned around and said that she lied about when she got married. The Queen of England came out and said that she's lying. These are prominent, serious people. These are not people that work for newspapers and journalists that have said, well, you know, we're going to manipulate this. This actually comes from Prince William. He's, you know, getting us to twist the narrative. These are serious people that are saying that she is lying. Even when it came to her podcast, Meghan decided she wanted to be a deal or no deal girl. And then she completely trashed it and tried to burn it to the ground that she felt objectified. You wanted to be a royal girlfriend. You wanted to be a duchess. The Queen offered Meghan the chance to continue working as an actress, to not become a working member of the royal family, to take a back seat, still marry Harry. You know, they could build their family and Meghan could slowly be introduced, if she wanted to at a later date, into being the royal family. Now, what I have taken from this series is that was never ever going to be accepted. Not because Meghan was headstrong, not because she thought that she knew everything, she could hit the ground running. She didn't want to keep working because she wanted those titles so she could run with Harry, the golden goose and the golden egg, and go back to America. I believe that Harry and Meghan have shot themselves in the foot with this documentary. They've shown far too much footage. Far too many things that have been documented way back before they even said that they were unhappy. You've got to ask the questions, why? Why were they doing it? Why were they recording it? Why were they taking such meticulous details down? Even some of the details that they've taken down, they've manipulated and changed, like they edited their engagement interview to make it seem that they were unhappy. There are so many things that unfortunately are now coming out for Harry and Meghan, that it's their own words that are their undoing. I've said before, they are the authors of their own demise. For example, with that video clip that I showed you, with them talking about Jason Knuth, that is obviously Prince William that's behind this. Meghan's like, deal with your brother, deal with your brother. I'm having nothing to do with it, but deal with your brother or you'll get it later. That's basically what I took from that clip. And, you know, Jason was very much working for them. He was their communications. And it was actual emails that got presented to the court with various court cases where it was Harry and Meghan's wording. This wasn't Jason Knuth writing. I mean, he was writing to them, but it was Harry's words saying from the horse's mouth, yes, Jason, we need to lie to people to tell them that we've had nothing to do with giving information to the authors of Finding Freedom. Yes, Jason, please make sure that no one finds out that we're lying, Jason. Meghan with Jason to do with the letter. Dear Daddy, yes, I really want to keep the daddy in there because I know that it'll pull at the heartstrings. Not her father's heartstrings, the public's heartstrings, because that letter was always meant to be released. There are people now that are following the Harry and Meghan storyline that have not seen or been part of this from when it all started, from when all of the drama, all of the stuff started seeping out. And they are the people that I don't think you're going to be able to convince otherwise. They see what Harry and Meghan have done has been very clever with hiding all of these images and all of these photographs of the children. Meghan fake crying on the floor. I'm going to say fake crying. I am. I don't believe it because she's always got her hands on her face. Anyone could go boo, ha ha ha. You know, that probably looked a little bit Halloween-y there. Sorry, guys. But you get what I'm saying, that you know, they've kept all these deeply manipulating images of, oh, look at them, they're just a young family, and oh, look with the baby, oh, look, Meghan's crying on the floor, oh, she went through that. Where are those people caring about that a 95-year-old monarch's husband was dying when they did Oprah? What about Harry and Meghan still launching attacks when she just buried her husband, his own grandmother? What about Catherine? People talk about, oh, Meghan was pregnant, she dealt with this abuse. Meghan had a baby, she dealt with this abuse. What about the abuse that she gave Catherine to make her cry over bridesmaid fit-in dresses? Catherine had literally just given birth to her third child. She had 2 children, well, 3 children then, under the age of 5. Where was the world's compassion for what Catherine went through? Where is the outrage and the compassion for the fact that our monarch, Queen Elizabeth, was dying of bone cancer while Harry and Meghan were filming this? Every invite that she begged for them to bring the children over, to do sleepovers, to come see her, they denied and they turned down, knowing that she was dying. And the whole time they were filming this? That's what people have got to remember every single episode of this documentary. Who was filming? Who was taking the pictures? Who was there on these intimate moments? So where is the compassion for the fact that they were doing this all behind the Queen's back, that had given them everything? Everything that they've got now is because of what that family gave them. The thing is, Harry and Meghan have actually attacked their family and hurt their family in more ways than what the royal family ever did to them. They have got what they wanted. They've still managed to be half in, half out because they've kept the titles, right? They were still invited to the Jubilee. They still got their pictures plastered over the newspapers. They were still, you know, obviously invited to the Queen's funeral. That's not exactly like a big event. Forgive me if that sounds wrong. But, you know, they were very much included in the big events, and they are still selling their souls for anyone that is waving a checkbook at them. You know, they got what they wanted. They're living in a multi-million-pound house. They've got 2 healthy, beautiful children. They're married. They are telling the world that they are living the greatest love story ever told. Then why are they still attacking their family? I've had whole women behind me in the queue, right, talking about newspaper headlines, going, I think it's absolutely disgusting what they're doing to their families. And then I've also met someone like my beautician, okay, I'll tell you today. I went and saw my beautician briefly, and she was saying, oh, I just feel so sorry for Harry, you know, he's really he's fighting back. Yeah, but I asked her, fighting what though? What is he fighting? Well, he's standing up for himself. But against who? No one's attacking Harry. Yes, they drew a lot of criticism at several points, but that was the way that they behaved, and they have continued to behave. And I was like, yeah, but surely they told their story on Oprah. We were having a grown-up conversation. And she's like, well, yeah, I mean, you know, fair enough. And I was like, yeah, but they did it on Oprah. Then they've done it on podcasts. Then they've done it in magazine articles. And now, you know, they've done this in a 6-part documentary. And now Harry's got his book. They've told their story. It changes every time. How many more times do they need to keep telling the world how much they're victims? People are bored of it. There is real things happening in the world. And like I said, I've got Megsickness. So this video has been just to catch up with you guys, because I do miss talking to you guys, and just explain a little bit what's going on. I'm going to spend a bit more time and hopefully get my living room in a bit of a better state once the plaster is finished today, to talk about, you know, we've got the Christmas Carol concert. We've had some wonderful images. We're going to get to see that on Christmas Eve. There's lots of fun stuff that I want to go back to talking about, and I've just reached this point where I feel that Megsickness has sunk in and we all need a bit of a breather. I will always obviously talk about Harry and Meghan, the bits and bobs that have come up. You know, Harry and Meghan can't help themselves. But for now, I think the world has seen enough of them. I mean, we've just had an announcement that they're going to be back before the year is even out with another documentary through Netflix. It's just too soon to be seeing their faces again after this Netflix. So I will be back. I will obviously mention them, and I will be back more comical, but less of the Megsickness stuff. And let's get back to laughing and joking. And I promise I will be back with you in the next couple of days. So take care for now. Bye.
If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link, Love Taz.